Bonnie Langford, aged only 8, but she already had 8 years and 9 months theatrical experience behind her. Not all performers start so young, but they all have to start. In the next hour, we'll see some famous names in the humble days before they made it, or else, after they made it, stretching themselves in not always advisable directions. Before they became names, they were just faces. With your keen eyes, you'll soon spot the obscure bit player who became a household name later on. Blake Carrington from Dynasty recognizably started out in a series called Bachelor Father, but who was the young lady playing queen of the teen scene?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Liz McGavin.
Bentley Gray.
Well, you're Dad's mouthpiece, aren't you?
I'm his attorney.
Oh, sorry.
And I take it you're the stormy petrel of high school show business, huh?
Yes, it was Crystal, her eyebrows 6 inches apart, and in love with Blake even then. She could sense his strength, especially the uncanny strength of his hair, which was fated to grow miraculously more luxuriant in the years ahead.
You're cute.
There's one word that I dislike more than mouthpiece. It's cute.
You're really putting me in my place today, aren't you, Uncle Denton? Well, I still think you're cute, but it's the last time you'll hear me say it.
But while Crystal was playing a post-pubescent vamp and not very nice niece, guess who was being a Cockney gangland siren in one of those post-war British movies where Cecil Parker proved his establishment status by being able to afford a tailored suit.
Explain yourself. Now, for heaven's sake, stop crying. Now, what's it all about?
I was on a date. I didn't know he'd knocked the car off. Honest, I didn't.
I ought to take you down to the police.
Oh, no, don't do that. They'll run me in this time.
So you've been in trouble before.
I'm on probation.
What's your name?
Norma. Norma Hart.
Oh, Norma. What are we going to do with you? This is a pretty serious business, you know.
Oh, I knew you was decent. How'd you mean?
That's very accommodating of it.
I'm sorry.
Your thoughts were crystal clear.
Ah, but you guessed. It was that other Dynasty diva, the luxurious Alexis, alias Joan Collins. Even younger then than she is now, and forced to buy her clothes on a British film industry budget, in the days when nylons were still hard currency. Actually, she always looked wonderful, and the only thing that slowed down her career in British movies was British movies, which never really knew what to do with a sexy-looking woman. She might as well have stuck to doing ads for the Gas Council, like this one, which showed that if there was no gas, modern life would be deprived of many exciting things, such as hot water bottles, 2-pin plugs, and polyester carpets. The young Joan's only pair of nylons. A thrilling byproduct of British gas. But the commercial paid the rent, and maybe they even gave her a book of clothing coupons. Making ends meet is the constant preoccupation of actors who, even when they get paid well, don't get paid often. To the actor who makes it all the way in the movies, the loot that pours in never quite offsets the pain and fear of those early times when he tried to sell his soul to the advertising agencies.
If you've never bought a Volkswagen because it wasn't big enough, okay. Here's a Volkswagen that's big enough. The new VW fastback sedan. It seats 4 with more room for elbows and legs. It's pretty jazzy, too. Has an electric clock and even wall-to-wall carpeting. The fastback also has the most powerful engine we've ever made. It's air-cooled. Goes 27 miles on a gallon of gas, which is pretty good for a car that can go 84 miles per hour. Since we made a VW that's a little roomier in the inside, we decided to do the same thing on the outside. It's got a trunk up front where most cars have their motors, and in the back, where most cars have their trunks, we have a...
Dustin Hoffman got the job because Volkswagen had a small car to sell and wanted to make it look as big as a Cadillac. But once the American public had got used to the idea of the compact car, it was not long before they accepted the compact actor. Hoffman, Al Pacino, and Richard Dreyfuss all fit within the wheelbase of Rock Hudson. There was a day when these young faces had no names attached, but you, of course, will spot who they are straight away, even through the blurry old film.
Every day's a holiday with Hot Boys.
I'm Happy Hot Boy. Ozzie and Harriet have guests tonight, and they've just finished dinner.
Tables are all clear now, Harriet. Anything more I can do?
No, thanks, Marion. While Ozzie's setting up the card tables, I'll just put these in the dishwasher. Only take a minute.
Our dishwasher's wonderful.
Yes, indeed they are. I always say there's nothing like a dishwasher to keep your home a happy one.
And now, on with the show.
This is the first car I ever owned. I call her Cynthia. She's going to have the best care a car ever had. Put Royal Triton in Cynthia's little tummy.
Right, lady.
Cynthia will just love that Royal Triton.
Hey, you win. How about a Winston? Well, everybody's smoking Winston. This filter cigarette really tastes like a cigarette.
King-size Winston brings flavor back to filter smoking. Winston's finer filter works so effectively, yet doesn't flatten the flavor. The full, rich flavor comes clean through to you for real smoking enjoyment.
Freedom. It's a great feeling. To do what you want to do, be what you want to be. Jazz. Jazz aftershave and cologne for men is dedicated to that feeling of freedom. Jazz for men. It's a great feeling.
Introducing the Elegant Shave. New Rapid Shave Cologne scent. They asked us to try it out.
Got a great fragrance. I may shave more often.
You got a shave? You might as well make it interesting.
It's around my face is what I deserve.
Laugh.
Cologne fragrance and a shave cream. Love innovation.
Okay, go on, tell me.
The Elegant Shave is beautiful.
New cologne scent from Rapid Shave.
Sylvester Stallone before he was even Rocky 1. He was Rocky nothing. And might never have made it if he hadn't had the inspired notion of using the aftershave on his vocal cords. But those were all American stars, and therefore, be they ever so famous, still foreign. For the British public, a true household name has to be someone you can imagine in your household. Hence the almost mystical importance of Coronation Street, whose actors are so identified with the series that it's hard to imagine them doing anything else. Certainly not commercials. In fact, once they're in the series, the Coronation Street actors aren't allowed to do commercials. If Alf, Vera, and Betty were making these commercials today, they'd earn a fortune. But they made them yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been eating potato crisps ever since I was a little lad. And I started thinking, there must be something different you can give people to chew on. So I had a look round, in my spare time like. And after a while, I made a discovery. Here it is. A delicious little puffed up, aerated crisp. And it crunches like Julio. I'm so confident they're a winner that I got onto the makers. Well, anyway, to cut a long story short, they've taken me on to sell them full time. Oh, by the way, my name is Albert Watson, so they're calling them Alberts. After me. Alberts are in the shops now, in several flavours. They're a right nice change from ordinary crisps, so I hope you'll try them. In fact, I'm depending on it. Morning, can I help you?
We'd like a kitchen table with a nice
Certainly, this way, madam.
and red, the lighted sector. Now put this on your head and don't worry about it.
If you insist, madam.
Hey, it suits you.
Thank you. Now, this table is our latest style, sir. It has folding leaves.
Understand?
It seats 6 people comfortably.
6 people.
And, of course, it has a beautiful formica top.
Oh, you don't have to tell them, do you?
Take us across, missus.
Oh, go on.
How's your new job?
Fine.
fine, but for this white coat I have to wear. White? Fat chance of getting it white with all the soot around here.
Ah, shame.
Never mind, I've got just the thing for off-white wardens. New Oxidol. It's got a special new bleach, see? How will that help, then? Help? You can't get things white round here without Oxidol's bleach. I'll buy some for my next wash. And you won't. You have that. And use it.
I've been to the doctor's.
Oh, yeah?
He told me some news.
Oh, yeah?
You're going to be a father.
Oh, yeah? Sit down. Now, take it easy. What do you want?
I fancy a nice pork chop, some mushrooms, and I'm spaghetti.
I'll get it.
Oh, I'll never eat all this.
Come on. Eating for two, you know. Betty?
Alf, Vera and Betty working for peanuts before they reached Coronation Street and started working for more peanuts. As for Annie, Albert, Rita and Elsie, in their pre-street existence, they weren't even in commercials. They were in British movies. In this scene, you must not blink or you'll miss the one and only film appearance of Annie Walker.
Take Inspector Martin, Seeker talking. Oh, yes, sir. Driving all three on the second floor. Oh, sister, Mr. Martin over Mr. Hawkins. Is he stable?
Well, just 5 minutes. Don't get too worried or
He's
excited.
just a socialist.
It's for my friend Leo.
Oh, yes.
Yes. No. Don't smell like her, if you know what I mean.
The lady is more sophisticated.
What, dear?
A woman of the world.
No, thank you. I've had enough of them.
Well, we're all worked up, Miss Harris. That master will play all Larry if he comes in and finds us doing note at workroom. What shall we start on?
I don't know, but do something. I'm not stopping you.
No, and you're not telling me either. Of course, we can go on making clogs for stock if you like.
Then you better.
All right. Clogs are your orders, Miss Alice.
You suggested it.
I made the remark.
You don't help us much for an intelligent foreman.
When you've told me what to do, I'll use my intelligence and see it's done proper.
Nice day.
There is.
What can I get for you, please?
I'd like to join your circulating library.
Certainly, madam. Certainly. Now, can I have your name, please?
But do you sure name Petita?
Oh, what's
You like it?
I love it, particularly the petita part. Yes. Now, what about a book?
Oh, well, you know what I like.
I've got a good idea. Give me 2 guesses.
Something nice and
Romantic. I knew it.
But what about that book?
Oh, the book, yes. Now, here we are. This is a very good one. I've read it myself. Heartthrobs at Eventide.
Oh, what's it about?
Well, the usual. What are they all about? But if you want a real smasher, I've got a book here. Look, Forever Crimson.
Forever Crimson?
Yes. You've read the other colour, I suppose?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's a Sunday school treat compared to this.
Oh, in that case, I think I'll take that one.
You will. Now, you'll find this most comforting during a fuel shortage.
Fuel shortage? What
Yes.
do you mean?
Well, it's a bit hot, you know. It'll keep you warm.
Then it'll be hot for you when you cock your toes up. Goodbye.
Elsie Tanner, wearing the skin of a large dead dog. Before she got to Coronation Street, when she was still hidden away in British films. A safer way of remaining anonymous is being in MI5, if not safer. In part 2, we'll see very big bosoms, and unfortunately here, some singing performances which perhaps should have stayed unsung. But here are 2 singing ladies who did it well before moving on to the Rover's Return. If you spot a woman who looks like Nora Batty mouthing the words in the first chorus, you'll be right.
On the morning in July, I was walking through Tipperary. I heard a battle cry from the mountains overhead. I looked up to the sky, saw an Irish soldier laddie. He looked at me quite fearlessly and said, "Oh, me, oh, my, there's a man up in the sky. Please tell me why. Is there any reason to set you die? I'll never let it get you down. Step up and sing a song with me, and if you jog along with me, you gotta sing out sin, sing out sin, sing out sin and smile. Never let it get you down. Sing to your song, my song, don't say, I'll be a number another day. Sing out sin and smile. Don't ever let me see you frown. Frowning's never good for you. There's only one thing you must do. You gotta sing out your chin, sing out your chin, sing out sin and smile.
British Airways Super Club Class seat. The widest seat in the air. But being the widest seat in the air, it isn't the easiest to fit through the door. From May the 1st on all our long-haul routes, the world's widest airline seat. From the airline that cares about everyone that flies. British Airways, the world's favorite airline.
You know one reason ain't worth praising. We'd like to inform you if that raisin ain't been raised in California. A raisin worth praising.
Debenhams mid-season sale. Prices are down in every department. Don't miss our mid-season sale. Starts Monday.
Oh, Mum's out. I'm cooking.
Freeze.
Everything all right?
Incredible.
Absolutely fun. Saturday's off from now on, then.
Quality diamond. A little weight no woman minds putting on.
MFI sale, last chance for thousands of bargains. Open Holiday Monday.
Martin Shore of The Professionals making an early appearance in the TV series Doctor in the House. For the British male comedian, strapping on a huge false bosom is almost as important as climbing into high heels. Shore is a fine actor who later lived down these humiliations. Jane Mansfield, on the other hand, was not a British male comedian. The huge chest grew naturally. But however the effect was arrived at, it helped to prove that Ronald Reagan, in his first performance as president, although he was still only president of the Screen Actors Guild, knew a tense, explosive situation when he saw them.
Ladies and gentlemen, now for another special award. To present that award, a very special young lady who came to Hollywood by way of UCLA. I'm sure she is easily recognized, at least here in her own community, although she could very easily travel anonymously just any place. Miss Jane Mansfield.
Down to business. Special award in recognition of his superb artistry, the beloved Peppy. He may be here, or he may not. In case he's not, we will be prepared to sort of stage other capabilities. Canteen slot.
surprising flyer from Tokyo, where his picture Pepe premiered last night, but Mickey Rooney is going to accept.
Who wants to be tall? All kidding aside, Jane, may I say, Mr. President, and, I'm standing in a hold now. Mr. President and ladies and gentlemen of the Foreign Press Association, without all kidding aside, may I say, I'm a very poor substitute for the great Cantinflas. And I'm sure we're here tonight. What was I saying? But ladies and gentlemen, all kidding aside, I'm sure that the great Cantinflas, were he here this evening, in all dignity and repose, would be very greatly honored as I am through Columbia Pictures, to receive this great award for one of the greatest comics of our time, Cantinflas. Thanks so much in his behalf, and Columbia Pictures. Thank you, Jamie.
Mickey Rooney almost getting his head caught. Ran from each side by two milk floats. It wasn't so much that Jane's breasts were large, as that her rib cage was like the front of a British Rail 125 train. Jane Mansfield was a bust that boomed and then a boom that busted. The sad truth about her, which became tragic in the end, was that she couldn't do very much. The equivalent British sex bomb had real ability.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy, we just made it. Well, anyway, we've been rehearsing all week, and we hope that we've got something for you tonight that you're really going to enjoy. You know, when I first told my agent that I'd like to do a spectacular, he laughed. And as a matter of fact, so did all my friends. But I remember a certain song which kind of explains how I feel about the whole thing. They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round. They all laughed when Edison discovered sound. They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man could fly. They told Marconi wireless was a phony. It's the same old cry. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said I was reaching for the moon. But oh, you came through. Now they'll have to change their tune. They all said that these guys are crazy. They laughed at us and how. But ha, 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 who's got the last laugh? Ho, ho, ho. Who's got the last laugh? Ha, ha, ha. Who's got the last laugh now?
Diana Dawes, incredibly producing a quite acceptable sound, while bolted into a 50s foundation garment. It could have stood there and sung all by itself. As with Joan Collins, the only thing that slowed Diana Dawes down in British movies was British movies, which couldn't package a sex goddess even when she was gifted. Hollywood could, even when she wasn't. Not that Elizabeth Taylor was without universal appeal, But at a later stage, she revealed her capacity as a singer, which turned out to be almost exactly the same as my capacity as a singer.
Don't you love us? My fault, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. Where are the clouds? Quick, send in the clouds. Don't bother, they're here.
Desiree, I'm sorry.
At least she looked like an opera soprano. So, of course, did the Italian girls, Gina Lollobrigida and Sophia Loren, whose busts received a lot of emphasis in the days when a big chest for the newly liberated Italian woman symbolized a defiant affirmation of the separation between church and state. Both ladies, however, when starring in film versions of Italian opera, didn't make Elizabeth Taylor's mistake. They let real opera singers do the singing, while they just moved their mouths along with everything else. Why are you looking at Roger Moore, you ask? Because Aida's evil girlfriend was played by Lois Maxwell, who later became Miss Moneypenny in the James Bond movies. The argument is eternal about which actor should play James Bond when Sean Connery is playing golf. Like all of my countrymen, I'm a George Lazenby fan, but the world has overwhelmingly chosen Roger Moore. 10 years before he finally got the part, Roger was in a prophetic review sketch on the Millicent Martin television show.
You know, James Bond, I would like this to go on forever.
Yes, it would be nice, but you have to remember, Sonia, that at any second I can become Special Agent 007 licensed to kill.
I don't care. I'm 006 licensed to surrender. Answer it. It's your side.
Hello? Yes, 007. Yes, M. Thank you, M. Yes, and my best to Mrs. M.
Thank you. Hello, comrade. Yes, comrade. Right away, comrade. Goodbye. Well, that's the end of my holiday.
Yes, mine too. No more being... Whoa.
And the end of me.
Well, it was a nice trip.
While it lasted, yes.
Roger Moore 10 years before he became James Bond. But he's always looked and sounded exactly 21 years old, so the only way you can date that performance is by the small, subtle signs of live television. Flimsy material, hasty rehearsals, and the audience getting their biggest laugh when the set falls down. Here's another early star performance from the allegedly scintillating 60s. And who's the geezer with Arthur Haynes?
Yeah, he must be in a strange way, mustn't he? Yeah. The Moore? Oh, the Moore, yeah. Well, come have a sit down. I want to talk. How do you like to go partners with me?
Really, Arthur?
Really? Do that? Yeah.
Oh, I could do with some money, and that's getting near Christmas. My bird wants some clover. I could do a new whistle.
Help your dad out and all, wouldn't
Yeah, it'd help me dad out a lot, yeah.
But I'll tell you what we do now. After we finish this place tonight,
Yeah.
I've got 3 loan club secretaries to do.
Oh, you know them, do you?
No, I don't know them, but I've been saving them for Christmas.
Oh, that's nice.
All right?
Yeah, fine.
Come down and help me, then I'll put you on 25%.
25%?
A quarter.
A quarter?
A deal?
Oh, fine. Thanks very much.
Right, now go and get the vacuum cleaner out of the hallway, will you?
Right, Arthur.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want to nick this, Arthur. It's too heavy. It's not worth a light either, look.
Where We're not going to nick it, my old son. We're not going to nick it. Look, just get one thing straight. If you're going to work with me, we're going to leave every house that we go into the same as we found it. We don't want them looking like pigsties. That's one thing you've got to learn with me. Now plug that in and get this place swept up. Come on.
Go.
Get it swept up. Come on.
You know, a strange one you are, Albert.
Well, there's nobody about, is there? No, but supposing the law goes by. Well, if the law goes by, they won't think there's a burglar playing the piano, will they? Well, that's where you want it, mate, up there.
Michael Caine, twisting his winkle pickers into corkscrews. Well, at least he didn't sing. Nor has he, to my knowledge, ever done so. Who knows? Perhaps he can. As Burt Reynolds proved in At Long Last Love, a non-singing actor can get away with a song as long as he's content just to hit the notes without trying to hold them. Laurence Olivier, as he then was, had to hold the notes in The Beggar's Opera, yet he did so as briefly as possible. Other actors have not always been so wise, but let's start with Bert and Larry.
You're the top. You're a Waldorf song. You're the top. You're a Berlin ballad. You're a baby grand of a lady and a gent. You're an old Dutch master. You're Mrs. After your ups and You're romance. You're the steps of Russia. You're the dance. Well, out of Roxy Usher. I'm a lazy lout that is just about to stop. But if baby I'm the bottom, you're the top.
Let's be gay while we may. My heart was so free, it broke like the bee till Polly. My heart was so free, it broke like the bee till Polly my passion requited. I saved each flower, I changed every hour. I saved each flower, I changed every hour. But here every flower is united. But here every flower is united.
I can see us on an April night, looking out across a rolling farm, having supper in the candlelight, walking later arm in arm. Then I'll tell you how I passed the day, thinking mainly how the night would be. Then I'll try to find the words to say all the things you mean to me.
Through all kinds of weather, or if the sky should fall, just as long as we're together, it doesn't matter at all. When they've all had the quarrels and parties, we'll feel the same as we've started, just drumming along, singing a song, side by side, side by side, side by
side. Clint Eastwood promising to talk to the trees, but perhaps unwisely singing to them instead. And Roger Moore proving that his singing voice is licensed to kill. Some other more seasoned actors prudently decide, when offered a singing opportunity, to shut up entirely and just look wise.
Can you drive that well?
Mexico is privileged with your ticket to the opera for over 40 years. Sing on.
Bob Hope actually sang quite acceptably earlier in his career, but in his autumn years, he has opted to rest on his laurels. If your singing voice lacks power and accuracy, Resting on your laurels is the smart thing to do. Otherwise, you might sound as though you've just eaten them. In part 3, we have some performances that aren't just early, they're the very first. To remind you of what real singing is, however, let's have some more of what it isn't.
Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my timing this late in my career.
Hope it's my favourite meal tonight. A big quarter pounder done to a T. Will it be sizzling, chunky and thick?
You'll have to wait and see.
Pure ground beef, fresh chopped onion. It takes a big mouth to eat a bird's eye steakhouse quarter pounder. What'll you give your team with theirs? Quarter pounders. Another sizzler from the bird's eye steakhouse.
Long, innit? The gardener's the one who pays for grass that's left for 20 days.
17 days, actually.
Oh, dear. A hover mower you should use when grass has grown above your shoes. When a box is full to lip, expect a journey to the tip.
The Coldcast Concorde has a new kind of cutter. You'd be surprised how it copes with long grass.
Looks like I finished just in time.
Rain? No. When sky be red and night be cool.
A shepherd feels a proper fool.
The Coldcast Concorde, even in long grass, it's a lot less bother than a hover.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Doesn't look like nothing. Here, you're not eating your last Rolo.
No, I was gift wrapping it.
Huh?
For you.
Oh, you have turned over a new leaf.
Do you love anyone enough to give them your last Rolo?
Mm.
They're here. Heinz Invaders. Spaghetti space shaped in tomato sauce. Heinz Invaders, a force to be reckoned with.
I'm glad you kept riding this thing the way you did, despite my foul temper.
Well, I just happen to recall reading something that you didn't, that's all.
Well, maybe you listened to her complaints, too. And I only listened to her symptoms, I don't know. But if it is myasthenia gravis, she has you to thank for spotting it so quickly.
I'm sorry, Dr. Kildare. 100 years ago, autopsies were usually given to determine why a patient died. We've learned considerably since then. Today we know beforehand, don't we?
Yes, we do sometimes.
But we still do autopsies to learn more.
I don't need a lecture.
No, it's not Richard Chamberlain in Star Trek or Dallas. It's Miss Ellie and Captain Kirk in Dr. Kildare. Myasthenia gravis. Beat me up, Scotty, I'm in the wrong series. Dr. Kildare was the first great television soap opera in which absolutely everyone made an appearance. Sometimes on their way out, playing a terminal patient. Usually on their way up, playing a brilliant young doctor. But the first time performers get noticed isn't necessarily their first performance. Some of them are already on the screen while still at school. Here are three ordinary, or almost ordinary, school children, long before they were famous names. But of course, you'll pick them straight off.
we're not using boots today because we're on sandstone here at High Rocks near Tunbridge Wells. And if we use nail boots, there wouldn't be much of the rocks left after a while. And so we use either gym shoes, and here's Michael wearing a pair of ordinary gym shoes which you'd wear on the doing gym. They're quite satisfactory for climbing on these sort of outcrops.
Young Dennis Waterman driving something sold to him by an older boy called Arthur. Before that, we saw Charlton Halton, or Cheston Heston as he later became known, in a college production of Peer Gynt, and a certain young Rolling Stone climbing a rock. Other actors first became famous faces in American Army training films. These excerpts have never been seen by civilians before. Until now, you would have had to join up to spot these young heroes in action.
The train patrol can't stop civilian gambling, but will forbid servicemen to take part. Card or other games may be played by military personnel as long as there is no display of money. A game of cards for money may prove harmless enough, but hot tempers ignite when money begins to evaporate.
We have seen several methods of determining data for the construction of the observed firing chart. The successful massing of percussion and plan fire depends upon the accuracy of the data used in plotting battery positions, obtaining GFT settings, and securing sites.
Actually, Lee Marvin, like Charles Bronson, spent his days in khaki not just shooting film, but actually getting shot at. In the Pacific Island fighting, he was badly wounded. Jack Lemmon was the star of his very first training film, in which the doomy voice of authority warned that the front line was less dangerous than drinking with aggressive civilians while on a 48-hour pass.
Oh, dear. Mike figures, why not have a good time for a while? Strike up a conversation at the bar.
Bartender, double rye, please.
Now, here's an interesting personality. Very interesting.
Hands off, Max.
What's really staggering about that early performance by Jack Lemmon is how different it is from later ones. It's not different at all. Some artists find their style at the beginning. Others, usually the more interesting, work up to it. Dame Edna Everage, housewife superstar, is nowadays a monster of misplaced self-confidence. But 20 years ago, on Australian television, she was a shrinking violet.
Excuse I? Oh, dear. Oh, isn't this mad? Look, I'm that nervous. I've only addressed branch meetings of the Housewives Association before. Mind you, television's marvellous, isn't it? It's such a lovely piece of furniture.
The young Barry Humphries as a tender Edna Everage, still more housewife than superstar. Another 20 years further back, with the United States entering the Second World War, Betty Davis was the superstar incarnate. But she was also the housewife, doing her bit on the home front. Just a brave, modest little woman, like, say, Catherine the Great.
Merry Christmas, Billy. Merry Christmas, Ginny.
Mother, where are our stockings?
Children, come and sit down a minute. Ginny, this is for you. And Billy, this is for you. Mother's Christmas present.
War bonds.
Yes, darling, war bonds.
Gee, thanks a lot, Mom, but I wanted to...
I know you did, Ginny. And I know that Billy wanted a railroad. But I feel that you're both old enough to realize that your country's at war and to be willing to make sacrifices for it. Just think, if Daddy were wounded, one single war stamp might pay for the medicines that would save him from pain, even save his life.
Well, couldn't I have a bond and a bicycle?
Yes, Ginny, you could. We could afford that. But if everybody bought everything they wanted, it would take thousands of people to make the goods and to sell them. And those people I needed to make essential things for the war. Don't you see?
Maybe next year?
Maybe, Billy. I know that's one thing your father is fighting for, so that we can celebrate future Christmases in peace. And that will mean that he'll be with us again.
Betty Davis, a true housewife superstar, clad in rags to aid the war effort. How much further could an ordinary woman go? One step more, to the White House. But nobody knew that then. In Hellcats of the Navy, Nancy Reagan was just an ordinary nurse, burning with an impossible love for a man whose not yet fully famous face was still in shadow.
You knew I was fresh out of a bad marriage when we met. I wanted to be sure this time, so we played it safe. Until I knew that you were Mr. Right. Then you gave me that line about wartime marriages.
I wanted a wife and kids, not a widow and orphans.
Sure. And I began to think maybe you were playing the South Sea Circuit.
You knew better.
How could I know? Did you give me a post-dated check? So I got sore. What really happened is that I got scared, unsure. I had to prove to myself I could still circulate.
You proved it with Wes Barton.
Well, he was the guy all the girls whistled at. Just about the nicest guy I ever knew. But it wasn't love. Not for him or for me. We both knew that.
I should have known it. I should have come around and found out while I could still do something about it.
Ronald Reagan winning World War II while romancing Nancy with his left hand. Can he do the same in World War III? Certainly he seems to have himself convinced. When one of his challengers for the presidency, ex-astronaut John Glenn, received a boost from the movie about his achievements called The Right Stuff, Ronald Reagan accused Glenn of being a celluloid hero and had to be reminded by his advisors that John Glenn had actually done all those things in reality, whereas Ronald Reagan had done them only on the screen. Forgetting the difference between romance and reality is the big danger of being a famous face, so let's hope we don't get into a real war now just because someone wants to star in a remake of one of his old movies. But for the Reagans, all those challenges came later. We leave them, at the end of our program, at the beginning of their love.
Commander Abbott. I was afraid you wouldn't come.
Heard about Wes?
Yes. Talked to Landon. Somehow I feel it's all my fault. Everything's such a mess, and Let's get out of here. I'll sign out.
I've got a jeep.
Take over for me, will you, Frankie?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful being with all of you again. I'd like to thank you for letting me discuss my newspaper column with you and for your wonderful reaction to it. So until we meet again, this is Liberace in Hollywood on behalf of my brother George and everyone in the show saying thanks a million for being so nice to all of us. And I'll see you in the morning sun. And when the night is new,